3, 2, 1. Bingo, bango, bongo. Good afternoon, Ivan. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Pierre. That's a weird introduction. What's the bingo, bongo, bongo? What you said?
Bingo, bango, bongo. It was actually it's a classic saying by Michael Sexton in high stakes poker back in the day. That was
all right, okay.
When someone would hit like royal straight flush or something, he would go bingo, bango, bongo. Classic.
That's a good one. I'll start using it.
Yes, yeah. Feel free. So today, Ivan, it's really exciting to have you with us. We will be discussing the future of the iGaming industry in Malta. And you are obviously the COO of GamingMalta. You have very deep insights on what's going on in the iGaming industry here on the island, both from an industry perspective, but also from a government perspective. So I would just like to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit more, and who are you and what do you do?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So I run a non-profit foundation, which has been set up by government and by the Malta Gaming Authority around about 4 years ago now, which is called GamingMalta. We have a very clear North Star, and our North Star is that of being home of gaming excellence. It's a North Star which is very close to my heart. We could have said we're center of gaming excellence. We could have said that we're a hub of gaming excellence, but really we're a home. Home, because home, immediately gives the feeling that we want to make people feel very welcome here within, the iGaming industry and beyond that also, because I'm sure we'll have some time to talk about that also. So from employees working here, from also local, people wanting, or rather, they're in the industry already. So we want to ensure that that Malta is a great place from where to embark on your iGaming career, and also the ones who are here to stay here, basically, and facilitating all those things and really having a strong and bustling ecosystem as we have. It's incredible. I mean, especially during COVID, we've had a number of calls and people also from the iGaming sector. I had a really inspirational call last week from this Canadian guy who's basically living in America, and he wants to move his family here to Malta. And I think one of the reasons was we had met actually at ICE, and we've kept in touch since then. And one of the reasons was, he said, the way Malta has handled COVID has been fantastic, and it makes me, me and my family, it makes us feel safe that of our decision of relocating to Malta and relocating our business there, which to me is shows that Malta, as the numbers speak for themselves, has handled COVID very well. Thanks to everybody involved, from government, and hopefully we'll continue on that track. But yes, I mean, coming back to your question, so that's our North Star. So we're home of gaming excellence. We have broadened our remit to also include video gaming and eSports. We feel that all that joins the dots also very nicely within a gaming environment, and hopefully we'll continue working hard on that. Unfortunately, COVID has caused some disruption to us also. Suffice to say that for example, on the eSports front, we had just signed a partnership with ESL, one of the largest eSports tournament organizers in the world, and the season 11 of the Pro League season. Okay, so that's some of the top CS:GO teams in the world were about to come to Malta. They were actually at the airport in Frankfurt, about to board the plane to Malta. It was the day when we basically locked down the airport by midnight, and that's probably one of the most difficult calls I had to make. I had to call them and tell them, "I'm sorry, you have to turn back, and it won't happen."
Yeah.
But then again, it shows also the resilience of the sector, in that, for example, the Pro League season had 500,000 concurrent viewers at the moment. So it shows really, that people want to be entertained also, and eSports has proven that. But we'll talk about that later. But yes, so basically our mission is home of gaming excellence, and together with my team, with Malcolm, with Corinne, and with Ray, we try and really do our best, to ensure that happens.
Yeah, I would love to come back to the esports part of your investments and stuff later on as well. And it's also a hot potato within the iGaming industry at the moment, is esports itself, and especially now when sports has kind of been absent for the last couple of months, and esports is on the radar now. So I'd love to return to that. But I would love to start a little bit on a different direction. And you mentioned earlier that Malta is the home of gaming excellence, and not only for the iGaming industry organizations, but also as individuals. And I am certainly one of them. I moved to Malta 9 years ago and have made it my home here, and it's been amazing to have been so welcomed into society here and seeing the industry grow as much as it has done for the last decade. But I can also see a little bit kind of dark clouds forming on the horizon at the moment. Recently, we've seen a few organizations that are downsizing, GIG being one of them. We saw Legolas Bet closing shop a little bit ago. We've seen Yggdrasil moving some of the stuff abroad, and we see other organizations that are also kind of investing in increasing their teams elsewhere. Is this something that you are worried about, Ivan, as we move forward, or how do you plan to retain the Malta as the home of gaming excellence?
Yeah, really, look, the organizations, some of the organizations you've mentioned and the organizations we speak to, very clearly, were either had challenges, prior to COVID also. So it wasn't really, I wouldn't say, and I wouldn't frame it as been, COVID related. Obviously, with COVID happening, it was more of a reality check also of what's happening. But I see, from what, and we've been having these discussions together, through forums like HR Connect. I still feel extremely positive about the industry, and I don't say that with any in any kind of promotional aspect or any of the sort, but really because the industry has proven to be extremely resilient. It's proven to be extremely adaptable, extremely flexible, and there's some great talent on board, okay? But like in any business, there are what I like to call the brutal truths. And the brutal truths is that COVID has increased also, on the challenges which they have. But yes, to answer your question, I still see a bright future. I still see that Malta, the way it handled COVID, which we mentioned, we've touched on that already, but also, considering the way the ecosystem has evolved here, right? You've got the right consultants, you've got the right players here, you've got the right talent, that the ecosystem ultimately will survive all this. And actually, I think it will thrive. It will thrive, on all this. And we're going to continue, working on ensuring that we attract talent here. One of the positive things also is so many companies have asked us, and they're looking for third country nationals coming to work to Malta, Japanese speaking, for example. That's because the industry is flexible enough to look at other sectors, at other markets, at other verticals, including esports, whereby they want to attract this talent here. So that's why I feel very responsible in saying that there's quite a future still here for the industry, and I will still feel that Malta wants to be home. The fact that we're still getting calls of people wanting to relocate here and people wanting to come back here and companies looking at investing here is all good. But then again, one has to balance things out, and like any other businesses, people look at their business models and see what is the most cost effective for them, see where the value chain is, what works, what doesn't work. So we'll continue working on the track.
Yeah, you mentioned the third country nationals, Ivan, and right now Japan is one of the emerging markets that a lot of the iGaming operators are looking into. So. And this will obviously keep continuing. There will always be new emerging markets popping up left, right, and center. But recently, there's also been a little bit more restrictions on bringing third country nationals to Malta with work permits and things like that. Is that something you are working actively with from an iGaming perspective with the government to alleviate organizations who wants to hire, for example, Japanese customer support, for example?
Yeah, as we know, I mean, right now with COVID, so Malta is not allowing any third country nationals here unless they are part of the key employment initiative scheme, or else work in the medical field, right? But that doesn't mean that. So the cases we've been handling, for example, are companies who still wanting to recruiting them, and then when hopefully the airport is open again and the rules are relaxed a bit, then they can come and work here. As I said, we're as a foundation, we're although kind of we're not the decision makers ultimately,
Right.
but we are there at the forefront making a case, with the powers that be. And I must say the powers that be are very good listeners, and they understand and they embrace the sector in ensuring that we tell them what the opportunities are, where the challenges lie, and we try and find solutions. So yes, I can assure you that we'll continue driving that message and ultimately finding also tangible solutions to that.
Yeah, because that has always been the big advantage, right? That Malta has for its iGaming sector, the fact that the government is so open to work with the iGaming industry to find solutions for letting the organizations thrive, right?
Yes, and
industry.
And I must say, I mean, and I've seen this at first hand, right? And Pierre, and probably you, and you've been in forums with me where I don't either ourselves or the MGA or Honourable Bartolo, and prior to him there was Honourable Scambri also. They've been always very open and very transparent in discussions with the iGaming sector, even through the forum like iGen, the iGaming European Network, and I salute Enrico here also, and the rest of the team for the great job that they're doing. And even the fact that you have a trade association which is working so closely with people like us, with Gaming Malta, also shows how much us as a foundation, also as a government, we're embracing this. Okay, so we're very open. We discuss whatever solutions. We might, not always agree. Also, but ultimately, all parties have, the iGaming sector in, at heart. And I think we don't just say that, we don't just talk about it, but we actually act about it, as we've seen over, the last couple of years also.
Yeah, it's true, and I guess because the industry is such an important part for the Maltese economy. I mean, I've heard some people saying that now Portugal is going to be kind of a new hub for gaming, or there's other markets and things like that. But the fact of the matter is that the Maltese the politicians are working so close with the industry, communicating and understanding them, and understanding the difficult challenges that they have, and try to alleviate it for them. That is kind of that must be the one of the biggest reasons why Malta is so strong for the iGaming industry. And I think especially now as we navigate through COVID-19, kind of the transparency, as you were just talking about, and stuff like that is key, really, to kind of gain and keep the trust from the iGaming organizations to keep investing in Malta. Would you agree with that too? Or?
Oh yes, definitely. And I think when we talk about investing, it's not just the bricks and mortar, but also when we've started off an initiative whereby there's the European Gaming Institute of Malta. I like to talk about talent, Because ultimately, you can have the best tech structures in the world, you can have the best lifestyle in the world, but ultimately, if these companies don't have the talent, to grow and the talent pipeline, then we're in trouble, basically. And so we're working on initiatives like and intensifying efforts, for example, with the European Gaming Institute of Malta, which is also funded by us and by the Malta Gaming Authority, and looking at also creating a curriculum which is more, I would say, focused on the real needs of the industry. Okay, these sort of things. We had, unfortunately, we couldn't do it till now this year, but last year we had actually also launched the student placement program, whereby young people, schools here, etc., and colleges or university could actually be assigned, as working as interns with the iGaming sector. So that shows, there's a breadth of initiatives. Okay, so you're looking at having the right lifestyle, the right structures, a government which embraces and is proud of the industry, a regulator which is firm but also very highly regarded, as within other jurisdictions also, and then you have a supporting act like GamingMalta, bringing all this together, to ensure, that the industry, I would say, not only succeed but thrives. I mean, that's what we want. Ultimately, it's we're in search of excellence, right? And it's in our North Star also, with all the challenges that brings.
Yeah.
But I'm sure with good faith from everybody, and when we all sit down around the table and we discuss things, and we always found tangible solutions.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned this, because the cannibalization within the industry in Malta has always been an issue, especially the last few years when this explosion kind of happened and all the organization grew this quickly, grew so quickly in such a short time, and everyone was poaching employees from each other, and it was an issue, right, to find new talent on the island. But I would like to see it from a different perspective as well. So I'll take a step back. When I moved to Malta 9 years ago, I worked for Betsson, and in my team, 9 out of 10 of the employees were Swedish, and the 10th person was Spanish. Okay, and it was very rare at that time that you found any Maltese employees within the product teams and things. But as the years have passed, it seems that more and more Maltese talent is seeking themselves into the iGaming industry, which I think is it's a natural step for the Maltese as well to seek themselves into the industry. So I want to ask you as well, what are you guys doing to ensure that that a lot of the talent is coming from within the island? And have you seen these type of trends too? Do you have any type of statistics? How many increases year on year, so to say?
Oh, I mean, look. So yes, we've seen the trend. So basically, it's great to see that there's a number also of C-suite, within leadership within the iGaming sector who are actually Maltese. So that's a testimonial also, to the industry, in the way that they nurture and that they grow talent. Okay, the fact that a lot of young people are asking, how do they get into the industry, etc. As you might be aware, we're also working very closely with iGen, on this. On this, and initiatives like Why iGaming, and looking into creating brand ambassadors and testimonials for people working in the sector is a fantastic initiative, and I think one has to see why we are doing that. Okay, there's been a perception in the past where working in iGaming was seen, there were, I would say, myths, and these are myths which need to be debunked. Where it's all party, where you don't have to be super qualified to join the iGaming sector. That you just go there for the money and that's it. And that only the foreigners get promoted and the Maltese don't get promoted. Which really, when you, and this is maybe what we need to continue communicating more also to the general public, that these are just myths. I think the industry has also matured, right, over the numbers of years. Many companies have also become PLCs, so they're publicly listed. Okay, so you're looking at extremely professional outfits and management, running these organizations. Number two is you're looking at these companies. Basically, I like to see them as also very tech-based companies. So they require people with a certain amount of skills also. Okay, but it's great that we still hear stories of people, having joined in customer support and have risen up the ranks. I would say, and those are stories which continue to inspire us. And people who used to work for the traditional industries, and that's maybe something which we need to continue working on also. So probably there's still some areas where we say, I would rather work in the financial services industry than the iGaming sector. Okay, because they wouldn't exactly know what the career path is, within the iGaming sector. And I think the challenge is also for the iGaming sector to attract people also from these sectors. So there's still work to be done there, and I'm sure also with the next initiatives that together with with HR Connect and also with iGen, will continue to develop at this stage.
Yeah. Do you still feel there is a little bit of a divide between the Maltese and the iGaming industry? Is the iGaming industry still living a bit in a bubble on this island, or what do you feel the trend is going?
I don't look, Pierre. I mean, the COVID situation, and if nothing else, it has to myself together with my team and with other stakeholders in maybe working a bit more closely also, with the sector. And the irony is working closer, and we've been on Zoom calls, on conference calls, rather than actually networking, physically, which I think up to some extent has been a plus in that regard. That sort of there's no BS now anymore, straight to the point, and let's work on the issues. And what I've seen, and to me, it's been a real eye opener, the way. And through the HR Connect forums and with the chief people officers of how they've handled it. Okay, so the fact that you had organizations who probably within 48 hours they were working remotely.
Okay. Incredible.
Incredible. Incredible. And also the way that they've handled also issues like mental health. We must be very sensitive to this, that there's a lot of young people working in the industry, expatriates here from young people who, found themselves, I would say, alone. And they couldn't go back to their families, they were here and whatever. So that creates also, and we needed to be sensitive to that. But the way the industry has handled that has been amazing. Okay, and it also shows the maturity of the iGaming industry right now and the people working there. Okay, the fact that they've, the way incentives were done to people working from home, and joining sort of an online networking on a Friday and all this, and creating, all these sorts of environments is to be commended. Is to be commended. Coming back to that is once again showing how the industry is developing and how it's maturing. Okay, and I always say, and I keep on preaching this. I know the first meeting I had with iGen, I had said, what I really feel is that the industry itself has never really gone out and done its own reputation management and voiced its own reputation management. Okay, a lot of perceptions have been created, unfortunately, because of that. Let's be very clear. The industry has brought to Malta, apart from the economic success, I would say the industry has brought to Malta a lot of new practices, which, when I started working was, I wouldn't even dream of. Okay, the fact that you walk into an office and you can have your breakfast there, you have your caterers, you've got your barista, and and the way they created that team team building and the team effort. There's a lot of good which the industry has done. And I say to her, well, let's go out there and voice that. Okay, let's go out there and show that. Also, from a CSR perspective, okay, it was the first one during COVID. Nearly one of the sectors that came together, and they donated, together with our help. I would say we were just a catalyst in that regard of high quality, COVID masks. Things which have done 12,500 of that. Things like crowdfunding, for food, for the food bank, and all this. And normally it's discussions which are taking place and decisions are taken immediately. There's nobody dragging their feet. And hats off to that. I mean, let's go out there and let's be proud of the industry. Okay, it's gambling.
Yeah,
face it. It's entertainment. I spent 12 years of my life working for a brewery, so I sold alcohol. It doesn't mean that I got people into bad habits, but we were part of the responsible drinking, campaigns and all that. And it's all about creating the balance. And that I would say it's and this is a lot of people don't know about the strong responsible gaming protocols, initiatives, and training which the iGaming sector undergo. A lot of people don't know that. And we need to go out there and communicate that.
It's very true. I mean, I think as well that the effects of all these initiatives that we are seeing right now that the industry is undertaking, and also the effect of the fact that all these major organizations are taking incredibly huge responsibility for their players to stay safe. I think that the effects of these, we will see a lag, so they won't happen from one day to the other. The effects of the initiatives that are happening now is something that will trickle into culture as we move forward, I think. So I think kind of the let's say the mistakes that have happened within the industry, or this extremely aggressive marketing that we saw in certain markets, have put a little bit of a black stamp on the industry, but now the industry have kind of evolved from that. It's like any other young industry, evolves through it, and it's evolving into an entertainment-led industry. And I think that comes from everything from suppliers to the operators and all around the industry, and also in the organizations themselves, like you're mentioning, that it's such a big CSR focus. The organization is so forward thinking in the way they handle their employees, and that's something that we definitely see in HR Connect, as you mentioned, the HR forum, which is represented by most of the major iGaming organizations here in Malta. They talk about this is how do we do things in the right way for the employees?
That's it.
Manage things in the right way. There's never any discussions on kind of holding back in certain ways. It's always about the employees coming first and allowing them to be happy.
Yeah. I think COVID has got the best out of the industry.
Definitely, yes, absolutely.
Especially from an HR, an HR perspective,
but also from a marketing perspective, because we've seen a lot of organizations that have willingly, decreased their marketing in certain markets, that have willingly chosen not to take advantage of the situation.
That's it. And no, definitely. And like anywhere else, there would be the bad apples. But thank God it was few and far between on that issue which you mentioned, and the I would say the leadership, or the leader ones, they were very careful, and they actually promoted in responsible gaming measures even during COVID. That's what we need to continue promoting. The fact is, I'm remembering. I got a beautiful email from somebody who we managed to repatriate, back to Malta, and she's not Maltese, so she works in the iGaming sector, and she said, Ivan, you together with the organization, you brought me back home. This is my home. This is my home, and this is what we need to continue. Continue developing. That's why I keep saying, and I probably bore my team to death with the mission of home of gaming excellence and gaming excellence. I hope I won't become a parody of myself.
How could you, Evan? How could you?
With that. But it's real. No. It's a real continuous mission, Pierre. It's I would say we need to continue doing with mission rezeal. Those are the words that I'm looking for. We need to continue with mission rezeal, and promoting it. Also with different stakeholders who maybe do not understand the sector very well. Don't understand the sector very well. And now when we're bringing video gaming and eSports into that, we've had situations where you're discussing with stakeholders, but it's kind of iGaming, or it's gambling. So isn't video gaming the same thing? Isn't eSports the same thing? We mustn't assume that people know also in the world that we're living in. So you would have to start from scratch and building up the blocks, and we've been doing that. Believe you me, in intensifying our efforts there, because we are very passionate together with my team in bringing these worlds together. And when you said about what will happen to the industry, the industry is also looking towards eSports and the eSports vertical. So. Look at you, Pierre. Yourselves. You said you started from Betson. Okay. Yeah. You made your life here, and now you're a successful entrepreneur with all the ups and downs.
With all the ups and downs. Yes, that comes.
With all the ups and downs. But the fact that you came to Malta, you worked for a very prestigious organization. You left there, and you had a vision to start your business from here. And you managed to start your business from here, and nobody stopped you. Okay, exactly. You found open doors, right? And the fact, even when you, even iGaming Idol, to me, it's also shows, to me, it's a celebration of the industry and of the talent. But not just iGaming Idol, iGaming X. You're looking at Sigma.
Of course.
I must say, people like Iman I've known back in the years since probably university and all this, and how he's managed to grow his business here, and starting off basically from nothing. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Just like you guys, and you guys are an inspiration. We are ultimately there as public servants, so we are public servants. Okay, and I take that extremely. I'm very responsible towards that, and very serious about that. We are there to serve the public, and you are part of the public, and the iGaming sector is our key stakeholder here, and want to ensure that in whatever we do, that the industry will thrive.
Yeah, it's true, and I think a big part of the success that we've seen, so let's say the fact that we were able to establish ourselves here, and the same with Eman and many others, is the fact that all these public institutions are so accessible. So you, Evan, is so accessible. You're there. You're with the industry. You can. It's possible to give you a phone call. You don't always answer, but most of the time you do. But it's incredible, and that's something you would never see in a bigger country like Sweden, where I am from. And I've always said the fact that Malta is a place where you can succeed. You can make something with your life here. Whatever it might be iGaming, it might be something else, but the doors are open for business here. That's I think is a huge advantage that Malta has. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'd like to go into another question before we jump into esports and stuff, because I'm curious to hear your opinion about this as well. But I'd love to. We spoke about COVID-19 and things like that in general. I would like to know a little bit right now how much you know about what is the strategy from the government with the situation right now? Because if I understand it correctly, the strategy is now changing from this very, very protective kind of rules until the Prime Minister has now very aggressively said that he wants to open society to the fullest extent possible to give the Maltese a summer. Do you have any insight what he means by that? How far will he go? And also, how will this affect the iGaming industry?
Okay, so basically, I'm not privy to any of
course.
that inside information. But from what I'm seeing is government has been very, very responsible, and also with the right results of how this has been handled. So it's been increasing amounts of testing, of tracing, and with the good, very good public awareness, the daily, press conference, and in a very transparent way of how things are developing. And basically, what I can see from our foundation also is that what we want is that slowly but surely businesses start being open, and us getting back to work, and basically, but being prepared in hitting the ground running, when also that happens, because ultimately, we need to think also of post-COVID. Okay, we can't just wait and keep talking about COVID. We also need to think about post-COVID, and I think that's where, in my case, that's where our mission lies. Also, we want to make sure, that Malta has handled the COVID well, that the measures are being opened in a very responsible and a very structured manner, so that when that is done, it's easier also to continue in attracting foreign direct investment. So I would say government strategy is to continue doing in a very responsible way, in a very measured way, in a very looking at this at the scientific numbers, at the scientific data, and slowly but surely and cautiously optimistic, I would say.
Yeah. It seems that now the cases have been low the last few days, which is obviously a good sign. It seems that so far Malta hasn't announced any kind of like long-term strategy. I guess it's very difficult to do that. The situation develops and such. But other countries have kind of put longer-term strategies in place with like 3-phase opening plans and things like that. But am I correct in saying that Malta is not doing that? That they are kind of announcing step by step as we go along?
I would say because the situation is so dynamic and it's so fluid. Okay, that I think the way Malta's handling it is that, as you said, in a very structured and measured way. Okay, but giving a message to everybody, that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That we're not going to always be in this tunnel. That there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now let's continue working together to ensure that we all see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Okay, and giving the support that is needed with all the financial measures.
And is Malta equipped to handle the outcome of COVID-19? Would you say, Ivan?
Well, I think it's shown, right, that it's been equipped to handle, and I think we've been a testament also to.
Because it seems like Malta came into this in a very strong financial position. With the last few years, it's been I think
the
surpluses and
the success of Malta's economy in the past years has resulted in that Malta can handle now the financial scenario as it is. But once again, as I said, the government is doing it in a very responsible and in a very measured way. But as I said, the situation is still dynamic and still very fluid in that regard. But from a Gaming Malta perspective, we'll continue to be there to be as a supporting as much as possible.
Yeah. And from an iGaming point of view, Ivan, has anything been done to support the industry? Has the industry any particular needs since COVID-19 started?
Look closer to home. So to what we've handled is we've been handling a lot of work with Identity Malta, the resident agency here, especially for people who are stuck overseas, people who needed to be repatriated here, people who unfortunately were living in Malta, they're stuck overseas because they didn't have their residency cards up to order and all that. So we're really helping in the nuts and bolts in there. so we're hopefully looking at once the airports has been opened, that these issues will start to be resolved nearly on their own.
That's true. Okay, Ivan. Let's. I'm really curious to talk a little bit now. The little time we have left about.
Time flies when you enjoy yourself.
I know it's incredible. I always say it's magical somehow how the time just start flying. But onto the eSports side of things. So Ivan, I have another skeptical question for you from my iGaming perspective today. So considering now that we've seen the iGaming industry a little bit on shaky grounds lately, people are worried what's going to happen within the iGaming industry. What is the future? Some companies are not performing that well, and so forth. As you are now embarking on the eSports vertical and trying to establish that in Malta, do you think that there's a chance that you will be losing focus on the iGaming industry or losing touch with the iGaming industry at the same time?
Not at all. No. I feel very comforted to see that together with my team, we've been working hard over the last 3 years, to ensure that the jigsaw puzzle, it all works together. Okay, so we are confident that all these, video gaming, esports, and iGaming can all work together. They're also different animals, and they need to be treated a bit differently. Video game development is not iGaming. It requires different amount of talent, very highly skilled, I would say. They're also the projects. Normally, design a game will take 3 to 4 years. So it's very much like the film business. Put it simply, put all the effort in producing, the film, and then hopefully it will be a success. But what's interesting for Malta is there'll be a lot of skill transfer from that. So people can people maybe have learned stuff from the iGaming sector and they want to join the video game sector. People in the video gaming sector with the highly skills that they've learned in creating games, they can cross-train also on the iGaming verticals. So no, and very simply, it won't lose focus because up to a certain extent, the 3 of them, they need each other. So we want to make sure that orchestra, can sing, can play that symphony very well.
So when you announced this vertical, the then Parliamentary Secretary Sylvia Scambary, he announced that on the financial side of this, they had a goal to that Malta's GDP would be 1% by from
10 years.
From the esports vertical. Is that still the target? And
yes.
When will it be?
So what you said is 1% in 10 years, and looking about 2,500 employees within the sector. So video gaming and esports put together.
Yeah. Okay.
We must understand from where we started, though. So when it comes to video gaming, I would say we started from a red ocean strategy. Okay. In iGaming, it was very much blue ocean. So we had first mover advantage. We were one of the first when we joined the EU to regulate also iGaming. So we basically opened doors. On the video gaming side, when I see the product I've cited is we're playing. We're still keeping up with the other jurisdictions, but there's already a very good young and bustling ecosystem. We have a studio which is a AAA studio. So a AAA studio basically means that basically producing the games, they would normally have what we call Hollywood budgets in producing a game, which will run into millions. Okay, we have local-based companies who are doing great IP stuff with Sony, for example. We have a great company doing work for hire, and these companies are growing. Okay, and we have an interesting pipeline. People who are more interested about Malta and what we're doing, and we're working closely with them to hopefully having that. We're actually building incubator space also for new startups and to serve as an accelerator, also hub for these organizations. On the esports front, it's a bit low-hanging fruit also for us. Okay, so imagine pre-COVID, it was a case of, we're a great tourist destination. We are also a great destination for young people here coming to learn English. So imagine for a while that you're young, you're coming to Malta to learn English, but you also can come and learn to play esports. We also have teams who can look at Malta as their base for their boot camps, for example. It's good to know that some of the top esports casters already live in Malta, and we found that out when we were compiling the strategy and meeting the stakeholders, etc. Because it's a great base for them then to fly out also to other European countries and the connectivity. Okay, and when you have companies like GMR, like Develop Academy, like Eden Esports, all investing in their businesses and organizing tournaments, educational side of esports, because that's extremely important. It shows that we're open for business, and there could be some interesting developments coming our way within the next couple of months, I would say, also on the esports front.
So I've seen that there have been some tournaments that have already been organized in Malta. Some of them at Intercontinental, and I've seen GamingMalta have sponsored them, and also at the tech. What's it called? Delta. At Delta, there was also
that's so. Yeah. At Delta, we had PlayCon, right? So it was the first time where we brought the video gaming and esports world together.
Yeah,
and there was an expo and also a summit. And what was interesting about that is when we had visits from school children, and you could see their faces light up when we had the Fortnite tournament, for example.
Yeah, it's a new generation now, Ivan. That's for sure.
It's a new generation, and that's how they are consuming their entertainment. And the mobile is a great form of entertainment also for mobile games. So we just can't be left behind, and we needed to look in the rearview mirror, and see also what can complement also the iGaming industry, and how can these industries, how can these industries feed into each other, And when you look currently at the numbers, on esports, etc., I would say that we weren't, I think we were right in promoting the strategy that esports is a vertical which can continue grow. When you have a company like ESL, and Malta is a host partner on Pro League. I don't know if any of our listeners, maybe or viewers, had managed to tune into the ESL Pro League season, and and Malta is there with Intel and with with the top brands. Okay. We would have never dreamt of that 3 years ago, Pierre.
No.
Okay. But because these organizations, when they look at sponsorship, it's not about how we're going to sponsor and all that. It's more a question of how can this jurisdiction, do we believe in this jurisdiction and that they could be a partner for esports, on the esports fronts. And this is, what they're seeing. And the fact that we have local companies who are creating their local heroes, and on the educational front is also great. A great company is World Pro Racing, for example, and probably you've seen them with us on ICE at ICE, the virtual car simulator racing, and they're doing great stuff, and they're being internationally recognized, with that. So there are a lot of success stories being built, and we're bringing these together, in creating more of a Malta package in there.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think the timing, I would say, for Malta to do this is becoming more and more interesting. In this, again, bringing in the iGaming perspective into this is the fact that the iGaming industry is now all the eyes are on the esports scene right now.
Yeah.
From all the organizations. So, do you think that can you also take advantage of this and bring these two sectors together? Because I'm sure that the iGaming industry would love to be closer to the esports sector in terms of communicating with them, with the right people, with ESL. What can we do together? How can we promote esports better as a gambling product, and how to reach these 1 billion people who are watching esports.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That is it. In fact, we started, I think, about 2 years ago. I think in one of the editions of Sigma, where we had the esports forum, okay, which we organized, and there are people from ESL there. So within an iGaming, a gambling environment, okay. One also has to be careful that it's when talking about esports, you're talking about a lot of young people also. So the gambling side of things, one has to be still assumed responsible, of how to approach that. Also, the esports community is a very closely knit community. Okay, and what we want is whatever happens in Malta, we want a great experience for the players, and we want a great experience for the young people who want to participate and who want to be their audience. To me, it was I think when I started to get into esports, what really got me is I was in Katowice for an ESL event, okay, the IAM Masters in Katowice, and there were 17,000 people in the arena, okay, and young people were queuing outside in the snow, because it's in Poland, it's not the most sunshine of places. It's people were queuing in the snow to get into the arena. And that, to me, it was a case of they said, "Hey, why can't this happen in Malta?" But more than that, when you see how the industry engages with it, just and you get their dads, their children, and whatever going, to see an esports final, and that's exactly what we want to capture here. We want to. I want to get that feeling. I want to get that. Wave, to reflect high, to make that happen.
Very interesting, Ivan. You're a man with big ideas. That is for sure. Ivan, I think this is a topic on its own that we can talk for a long time about. But we are running over here quite.
In fact, I suggest that we should organize an iGaming next podcast on.
I think so.
On esports.
We can. I would love to do one, Ivan, just as a topic of esports, because it's such a current topic right now, and let's make it happen. Absolutely,
definitely.
Whenever you want. So, Ivan, thank you so much for today, and thank you everyone who watched as well. And I have a little request for you, Ivan. If I'm not gonna embarrass you too much, but I know that you have your little ukulele next to you. Can you play a little outro?
Should I do this?
An outro jingle.
I might be without a job after this.
Yeah. A goodbye jingle. Can you do that?
Listen, wait.
Okay.
I'll go for something better.
Okay, something even better. Okay. All right. Let's see what Ivan is gonna come up with today.
Here's my guitar.
Oh, here we go. Here's a real guitar. So a little outro. A little outro jingle, a little goodbye song from Ivan Filletti, the voice of iGaming.
In fact, we had discussed, remember, Pierre, that we should have the iGaming Next Orchestra. That's one thing that we need to work on,
Yes. Maybe someone will be inspired. Okay, this is Ivan Filletti, the golden voice of iGaming. Thank you.
I think it'll be right for the time, so we'll see. Can you hear the guitar a bit?
Yes, perfect.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a road that leads to some place where I will put my mind at ease. There's hope that drives me over hidden hills to some place where I will put my mind at ease. And this is to all the iGaming people out there, okay? I keep standing and I won't fall. I keep standing. It's the only way I know. I keep standing and I won't fall. I keep standing. That's the only way I know. And that's all to the industry and to the
Oh my God.
resilience of the industry.
The golden voice of the iGaming industry, Ivan Filletti, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy this. Let me say